say that the Nissan Juke is a divisive car is, well, it's putting it lightly to be honest. But you know what? I say hats off to it, especially in a world where everything is starting to look so German. Well, it's nice to have a car that's not afraid to be different, and it's certainly not one that you'll lose in your local Tesco car park, no matter how hard you try. But divisive appearance aside, the Juke was a real trendsetter when it first arrived here in the UK, and it was really the car to kick off the obsession with the small crossover. But is it still the best small crossover? You see, when it first came out, its main competition was either everyday hatchbacks or slightly frumpy small SUVs, but the Juke was the first car in its class to really crank up the funk factor. Certainly funky is one way to describe this yellow interior. Vulgar might be another. Personally, it's a bit much for me, but at the same time, I can understand why people might be attracted by the Juke's quirky personality. It's an okay place to sit in as well, if slightly cramped, but you've got these heated leather seats, colour-coded of course, and all the controls are easy to read and use. The fact that both aircon and the drive mode selector are housed in this little Game Boy type screen might seem a little confusing at first, but it's easy once you get used to it. The touchscreen is also a little on the fiddly side and can be hard to use when you're on the move, but you do get the likes of sat-nav, Bluetooth, and a surround view reversing camera with rear parking sensors in this Techno trim, which will please buyers and also makes parking the car a doddle. Even though it's got the chunky looks, the Juke is actually quite a compact car and space inside is limited. That's something that you will want to bear in mind if you're on the look for a family car. The sloping roofline means that headroom isn't great for taller passengers, while even children will probably quickly outgrow the limited amounts of legroom. In truth, it's probably better suited to a buyer looking for an alternative to a city car or to a Super Mini. A 354 litre boot is decent and a lot better than the previous model, which only had 251 litres. Fold the rear seats down and maximum boot space increases to 1,235 litres. Much more than smaller cars, but still not as good as the best in the Juke's class. What's it like to drive? Well, this car is powered by the same 114 brake horsepower 1.2 litre turbo petrol that powers many of Nissan's other cars like the Pulsar, and it's actually quite a nippy little unit whenever you've got your foot down. It's really eager with gobs of torque that just squirt you up the road, and if you plonk it into sport mode with this little button here, it even shows you a little digital boost gauge to entertain juveniles like myself. 0 to 62 miles per hour takes 10.8 seconds, which isn't mega quick, but it's still not bad for a car like this. But while this engine is probably the pick of the bunch in terms of fun factor, that's about as sporty as things get. The steering is too light and too dead even in sport mode, while the suspension lacks the dynamic range of the best cars in its class. No bad thing, of course, as it's pleasant around town where most people will drive it and on the motorway. However, the poor visibility thanks to these chunky A-pillars and the fact that the steering adjusts for rake but not for reach can get frustrating. It's things like this that stop the Juke from being near the top of its class in terms of on-road ability, although the peppy engine is a highlight. To summarise, it can be entertaining to drive, but it's not exactly fun, and there is a difference. The Juke has always been one of the better cars in terms of value for money though. The entry-level model starts from £14,520, while even this range top in Techno starts from just £19,085, making it cheaper than many of its rivals by quite a few quid. In terms of fuel consumption though, the 1.2 petrol isn't the best. Nissan claims 50.4 miles per gallon, but in the past week we've only managed to wring 36.5 miles per gallon from it. If consumption is a priority, you'll be better served by the 1.5 diesel, which can achieve up to 70 miles per gallon. At the end of the day, the Nissan Juke is always going to remain one of those cars that you either just like or you just don't. Me, I like to give it the benefit of the doubt. It's quirky, it's playful, and above all, it's different. That alone is worthy of praise. But although it was the car to kick off the mini SUV trend, it hasn't really been the pick of the bunch for a while now. But that's okay, because for many buyers, its unique looks, decent amount of equipment, and affordable pricing will be enough. But what's your take? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the Inquire button to find out more details about this car, or for any other models, visit carkeys.co.uk. And to watch more reviews, click on one of the links on screen now.